Good morning to all. Welcome to online classes. This is Pinninti Ramreddy, lecturer in English, Government Degree College, Mahabubabad. Today our topic is reading comprehension. This reading comprehension gives the students to understand the passage. This reading comprehension is having the four skills. The number one is definition. Another one is Barrett's taxonomy of reading comprehension. Next, three levels of comprehension. The questioning technique to develop comprehension. It means, first of all, we should know what is the definition of reading comprehension. When do we have an idea on reading comprehension, then we can understand very easily the comprehensive passage to do the answers for the following questions of the comprehensive passage. Now let us say what is comprehension. Comprehension is the essence of reading. What is comprehension? It is the essence of reading. It is a complex thinking process that requires the reader to construct meaning from the text. It is the essence of reading. Comprehension means it is the essence of reading. It develops the complex thinking process among the readers. When do we do the reading comprehension? The reading comprehension develops the complex thinking process among the readers while they are reading the passage, and it helps them to construct in the meaningful text. Construct meaning from the text means when they read that passage, when they read with complex thinking process, they can understand the reading passage, and they can construct the sentences which they were taken from the comprehensive passage in meaningful order. Now, reading comprehension is the ability to read text, process it, and understand its meaning. What is reading comprehension? It is the ability to read text, process it, and understand its meaning. Reading comprehension means when we are reading, then it knows what abilities we are having on reading skill. At the same time, it is the process it and understand its meaning. When we are reading a passage and we can understand the meaning of the passage, it gives the meaning of the passage to you. You can understand that. An individual's ability to comprehend text is influenced by their traits and skills, and it is an individual ability to comprehend means to understand. It depends on your or on their traits and their skills to understand the comprehensive passage, one of which is the ability to make inferences. Now, reading comprehension is the act of understanding what you are reading. What do you mean by reading comprehension? Which helps us to understand what you are reading. What message you are getting from the reading comprehension, reading a passage. For example, if you read a newspaper passage in the newspaper, you can get the general information. If you read some article, you get some particular information. If you read some text, you will get the information which is prescribed for your academic year. Like you know the thing, what we are reading and what I am going to get. Reading comprehension is an intentional, active, interactive process that occurs before, during, and after a person reads a particular piece of writing. Reading comprehension is an intentional, active, interactive process. Reading comprehension means it is an intentional process, intentional activity which is done by yourselves, and to before, during, after a person reads a particular piece of writing. Means when you are writing a message or when you are writing something on the paper, before writing that you have to read that comprehensive passage to understand the central theme of the passage. Then after you can write the what you want to write. It means the reading comprehension is an intentional, active, interactive process that occurs before, during, and after a person reads a particular piece of writing. The Barrett's taxonomy of comprehension skills. Now, the Barrett's he has given some skills here. As per the Barrett, we have appreciation, evaluation, iteration, inferential, inferential comprehension, reorganization, literal comprehension. Like we have five comprehensive skills: appreciation, evaluation, inferential comprehension, reorganization comprehension, literal comprehension. Now let us see what is appreciation skill. That a person should have the critic knowledge when he is reading a passage, and he should know how to appraise and how to comment and how to appreciate. Means when we read the passage, we should get some, so we should have the critical idea and appraise, and we should we be ready to comment on that. And if it is excellent, we have to appreciate the writer. It gives some encouragement to the writer to write again and again. The appreciation, it is a boosting thing to the writer. The appreciation is a boosting thing to the writer. Next, evaluation. Evaluation means when we read the passage, we have to analyze what is there in the passage, and we have to appraise, and we have to evaluate how it is, and we have to justify, and we have to find out the reason why it is like this, and we have to criticize. Finally, we have to judge, to evaluate in our evaluation. Next, inferential comprehension. In this, predict, infer, guess means just we have to guess what is there, like that means we have to understand the internal concept of the passage. Reorganization. In reorganization, we have to classify, regroup, rearrange, assemble, collect, categorize. That comprehensive passage, we have to read it and we have to classify how it is. We have to make regroup, we have to rearrange, we have to reassemble the passages, we have to collect all the passages together and categorize. These are belongs to what and what. We have to categorize the passages, like we should do reorganization. Next, literal comprehension. Label, list, name, relate, recall, repeat, and state. In these things we have to do in literal comprehension. What it is, we have to give a label, how it is, and we have to find out the list, and we should give a name, and it is related to what we have to say, what it is recalling, and how it is repeating, the state of the thing. All the things we have to see in the literal comprehension. 3 levels of comprehension. What are the 3 levels of comprehension? Let us see. Number 1, literal. Number 2, interpretative. Number 3, applied. Now let us see what is the literal level. The literal level focuses on reading the passages, hearing the words, or viewing the images. It involves identifying the important and essential information. With guidance, students can distinguish between the important and less important ideas, facts and details, rote learning and memorization, surface understanding only. See, the literal level focusing on reading the passages. In the reading passages, what the literal level should focus? Here, hearing the words or viewing the images. In this one, we have to hear the words, and we should view the images, how they are given. And it is how it is related to this passage. And it involves identifying the important and essential information. When we look at the images shown us how that is important, and how it is an essential, how it is giving the essential information for the readers. And with guidance, students can distinguish between the important and less important ideas. When we look at hearing the words means head words, and also the viewing the images, we can understand very easily whether it is important or less important passage. Like that, we can categorize with looking at that. This is being given through the literal level, that facts and details, rote learning and memorization, surface understanding only. When we see these things with a literal level of knowledge, we can rotate learning and memorization, surface understanding only. From this, we can raise a question: what did the author say? After reading this one, we can raise a question that in the passage, what did the author say? What he is going to say? The interpretive level. The second one is the interpretive level. At the interpretive level, the focus shifts to reading between the lines. Looking in interpretive level, the focus, it is very consciously, seriously, it is shifting to the reading lines by line in between the lines. We should look at them carefully to find out the information. Yet what is implied by the material under study, it requires students to combine. When we look at them, what is implied by the material under study, then what we requires to what the students are required to combine the things, can understand. Next, pieces of information in order to make inferences about the author's intent and message. In this, we won't find out the information at its particular same place. We have to find out the information here and there, and what the author is going to say, we have to make them together. Next, drawing inferences, tapping into prior knowledge, experience, attaching new learning to old information, making logical leaps and educated guesses, reading between the lines to determine what is meant by what is stated. And here, how the information is logging from the old to till today, and how it is determined, lines or the statements, how it is with reading line by line, we can understand. This is being given through the interpretive level. Next, the applied level. The applied level means it is understandings at the literal and interpretive levels are combined. Here, the applied level means it is interpreting the previous two levels. They are interpretive and literal levels together. It is combining. Combining means reorganized and restructured at the applied level to express opinions, draw new insights, and develop fresh ideas. Critical reading and analysis, analyzing, synthesizing, applying. Here, through this applied level, we have to go through the interpretive levels and the literal levels. Both should be combined, means reorganized and restructured. Those two together, it is called the applied level. It is through the applied level we can express our opinions, we can draw new insights, and to develop fresh ideas. With the help of this applied level, we can develop the new ideas, new things, new, like critical reading and analysis and analyzing, synthesizing, applying. Those we can develop through the applied level. Next question: how would the author's message apply to other situations, given what you memorized and understood at the other two levels? Through this one, how would the author's message apply to other situations, given what you memorized and understood at the other two levels? Through this one, through this level, how the author is memorized about the previous levels, that apply the interpretive and literal levels. Next example: if Henry's friend Tom was the one playing the guitar. Do you think Henry would have rolled his eyes? Why or why not? When the Tom, he was a friend of Henry, when he was playing, the Tom would have rolled his eyes. Why or why not? He rolled his eyes, and why or why not? Through the applied, we can estimate applied level. Next, reading beyond the lines, reading between the lines, reading the lines. These three, it is in general, but if you go in detail, it gives a lot of knowledge to us. Reading beyond the lines, reading between the lines, reading the lines. The questioning techniques to develop comprehension. Through the questioning techniques, we can develop the reading comprehension. How we can develop our reading comprehension? Through the questioning techniques. Say, closed questions. Through the with the help of closed questions, we can develop the reading comprehension. With the help of open questions and yes or no questions, retelling questions, wait time, positive reinforcements. With all these six type of questions, we can develop the reading skill, reading comprehension. Now let us see what are the closed questions. Here, closed questions are the kind of questions that require a short response that can be found in the text. For example, what happened first in the story, or what is a reptile? Many comprehension tests use closed questions, and readers need to know how to find the information in the book with which to answer the questions. The closed questions, they should be answered in short response with smart lines, or few lines. Here, closed questions are the kind of questions that require a short response that can be found in the text. Where the short response are found, it is in the text. How we can find out that? With raising the questions, what happened first in the story. Then we have to go through the comprehensive passage thoroughly to find out what happened in the story. It means he reads with concentration. And what is a reptile? And many, like we make a questions. Many comprehension tests use closed questions. Most of the comprehensive passages, they test is with using closed questions, and readers need to know how to find the information in the book with which to answer the questions. When we make the questions, the readers, they know how to find the information in the book with which to answer the question. How to read, how to find out the answers, the readers will know. And so they go through the passage thoroughly and they find out the answers. Next, open questions. Open questions require more in-depth answers. Often the answer is not explicitly stated in the text. Some open questions require the reader to use her or his own ideas plus the information in the book to draw a conclusion about the topic. Other open questions require the reader to voice an opinion. Still, others may require the reader to apply what she or he has read to a different situation. Open questions can often begin with words such as why, how, explain, and what if. Here, open questions. Open questions means it is open to all. How the open questions are to be? The open questions require more in-depth answers. For the open questions, the readers, after reading, they have to give the answer in depth. Often the answer is not explicitly stated in the text. Means the answer may not explicitly stated in the text. Some open questions require the reader to use her or his own ideas plus the information in the book to draw a conclusion about the topic. The open questions, if they won't give the answer directly in the reading passage, it makes the reader to expect the answer in his own views, to present the answer in his own views with good conclusion. Other open questions require the reader to voice an opinion, and sometimes the other open questions, they require the reader to voice an opinion, means it gives a choice to the reader to express his opinion. Still others may require the reader to apply what she or he has read to a different situation. And in what type of situation, in a different situation, how they were read also, it will be showing. Open questions can often begin with words such as, how we can make a open question. Open questions we can make with using WH words such as why, why, how, explain, and what if. Like with these type of questions we can make a question. Examples of open questions are, how would you describe the setting of the story? How would you describe the setting of the story? This is example of the open question. How would you describe the setting of the story? So in that the writer, he has to imagine what is the question. How would you describe the setting of the story? How the reading the story set up, you describe how it is. You describe means the reader has to go through the passage thoroughly, and he has to express in his own views. And how are reptiles different from amphibians? Oh, what would happen if the boy got his wish? Like we can make a question. Do you think the boy will ever get his wish? Now, yes no questions. Yes no questions are closed questions that effectively cut off the discussion by setting up the child to answer with a yes or a no. In yes no questions, there is no scope to give even a word or in a sentence. Just here, it is only for giving the choice to say either yes or no. Examples of this type of questions are, did you like this story? Or did you like this passage? Did you like this story? Whether he likes it, he should say yes. Yes, I like it. Or it is enough. Yes. If somebody asks us or asks you, did you like this story? The reader can say immediately yes. If he doesn't like, no. Or is a snake reptile? Is a snake reptile? If it is a reptile, you can say it is a yes. Otherwise, no. If yes no questions are asked, they should always be followed up with a clarification question, such as why or how do you know. The tutor should look for ways to avoid yes no questions and try to extend the discussion with different types of questions, such as, see, the yes no, if yes no questions are asked, the yes no questions, they should always be followed up. When they ask the yes no questions, immediately why for yes, why for not, they try to take the clarification. Why you like this story, you should give the clarification. Why you don't like the story, you should give the clarification. So here, when we say yes, when we say no, immediately it follows the questions like, why do you like, why don't you like they will ask us. Then we have to give the clarification. It means we have to have full idea on that. When we are having the idea only, then we can say whether we like it, whether we don't like it, whether we say yes, whether we say no. If you say yes, if they ask again, why did you like this, then we have to give the clarification why we liked that passage. Or they ask us again, why don't you like, again we have to answer. We have to give the clear clarification to them whom the question was asked us. Next, how do you feel about this story? And they may ask some other questions like, how do you feel about this story? Then you have to express your feelings, what feelings you are having. you have to say. Or what makes a snake a reptile, and what makes the snake as a reptile, they will ask us. Eh, we have to say answer. Next, retelling questions. The retelling questions have the child retell stories she or he has read. A prompt that gets the retelling started could be, tell me what happened in the story. If the child needs more of prompting, other prompts could be, what was this story about? Who was in the story? Sometimes a child may stop during the retelling, prompt with questions such as, then what happened? Or what did you do then? When having the child retell non-fiction books, ask her or him to tell what the books was about. So the retelling questions means again the same. Have the child retell stories she or he has read. Here the children, when they listen to the stories and again they say the same story, it is called the retelling stories. A prompt that gets the retelling started could be, tell me what happened in the story. Somebody will ask what happened in the story which you are listened. If the child needs more prompting, other prompts could be. When the child needs more prompting, then the other prompts also could be like this. What was this story about? Then they have to say, this story is going to tell about what was. And who was in the story? In this story, who are there? What are the characters? And sometimes a child may stop during the retelling. While he was telling, immediately he stops. Prompt with questions such as, then what happened? Immediately he stops and asks, yes, say what happened there. And what did do then? Or he says he asks some character name and asks us, what did he do there? When having the child retell notification books, ask her or him to tell what the book was about. And if the books are there, the child retell notification books, we have to ask her or him to tell what the book was about. When we look at the books, then we have to ask the child, this book is going to tell about what? Wait time. Wait time is the amount of time that elapses between asking a question and either getting an answer from the child or providing more prompts for closed questions. Allow at least 3 seconds for the child to think and respond. For more complex questions, allow 10 or more seconds before rephrasing the question or providing hints to help the child. Here, in wait time, it is the amount of time. Wait time is what? It is the amount of time that elapses between asking a question and either getting an answer from the child or providing more prompts. Here, when in wait time, we have to ask the question. It is the what do you mean by wait time? Wait time means it is the amount of time. It is some time. In this time that elapses between asking a question and either getting an answer. During this amount of time, here there is a scope to raise a question, means ask a question, and also either getting an answer from the child. We can ask the question and we can get the answer from the child, or providing more prompts. For closed questions, allow at least 3 seconds for the child to think and respond. Say, for the closed questions, the child should be allowed at least 3 seconds for the child to think and respond. In the closed question, we have to give at least 3 seconds to the child to respond and answer, because he has to receive and say. the child is also a human being. He was not a man. He was not a computer. He was a human being. He has to understand what we are saying, and just in that sense, at least we have to allot 3 seconds to the child to answer the question. For more complex questions, allow 10 or more seconds before representing the question or providing hints to help the child. If we ask more complex questions, the child should be allowed to take more than 10 seconds, because when it is a complex means when it is a hard question, to the hard question he has to think, he has to take much time to think about it, and he has to think about the question, and he has to answer, and hints to help the child. Now, positive reinforcement. The positive reinforcement should be used to reward the child for correct behavior and to encourage more participation. This is more important. The positive reinforcement is more and more important. Why it is more and more important? The positive reinforcement should be used to reward the child for correct behavior. When a child behaves correctly, we have to give reward to the child, and we have to encourage the child to more participation again and again. See, in a classroom, for a simple answer, if we give a small gift to the child, it becomes a great motivation to remain still and also. And this the student who received this even a small chocolate or small pen or small compass or small dictionary or small thing, whatever useful to his academic activities, if he present among before all his classmates in the class, he gets more encouragement, more motivation from the teacher, and again he tries to respond again and again, and it creates among co students of the class, among other students of the class, and it makes them to think, it makes them to respond, it makes them to give the answers as far as this person who received a gift from us. So like this, not only in the classroom, wherever it is more and more important, the positive reinforcement we have to give the child with we have to give a reward to the child when he does the good work, good response, good behavior. It encourages him to do good things, and it encourages him to participate actively, enthusiastically, like that. And non-verbal reinforcement can include facial expressions such as smiling, which is more effective skill. As a reader or as a speaker, you have to use your non-verbal communication, that is your facial expressions, before the people who are standing you, before the audience. Because if the when you are expressing, while you are addressing or while you are saying something, then you hear some entertainment or some happy incident, immediately as per the situation, you have to give the show the smile thing on your face. But you will listen the good news, you will listen some entertainment news, but if you show the pale feelings on your face, there is no use of your non-verbal communication. Pale feelings means the sad feelings. So in our day-to-day communication, how much the verbal communication is becoming important, how much we are being used, like the non-verbal communication, it means the body of the language also more and more important, like verbal communication. Next, verbal reinforcement involves using oral feedback such as well done or that's a good answer. In verbal reinforcement, which is involving using oral feedback, when we listen them, we have to say, "Oh my boy, you done well, well done. Your response is good, well done, Nana." Or well done, boy, well done, girl, well done, my child. Like we have to encourage, well done, my dear student. It gives some boosting to the students. Or that's a good answer. Yes, yes, you are right. That's good answer. And try if he is near to answer. Yes, yes, you are very close to the answer. You try, you try. Definitely you will get it. Like the teacher has to encourage the students with positive reinforcement. In the classroom, always we means the teachers have to encourage the students, not to discourage. Though he gives wrong answer, but we don't say you are utterly wrong. We have to say yes, yes, you are correct. You are very close to answer. You think you will get it. Then only he tries to think and he tries to say the answer. But once we disappoint a student, he remains like a chair or a bench in the classroom. Then there is no difference between the human being or a student or that non-living things which are the material in the classroom, which are the furniture in the classroom. But the human beings are different from the non-living things. The human beings, they are having the great skill, that is thinking skill, which is given by God. Compare with other animals, the great skill it has given by God. We have to utilize this skill. We have to think. We have to overcome all the difficulties which we face in our day-to-day communication, in day-to-day reading comprehension, in our day-to-day soft skills, in our day-to-day in soft skills also called as life skills. Like we have to do the things. Thank you, friends, for listening with great patience to this class, which is more important than the reading comprehension. This is not only for prescribed for our first semester, but the reading comprehension you have been reading from your school age, which gives you more knowledge on how to read and how to gain the information from the passage, which is more and more important. You concentrate on this passage and get the knowledge how to utilize this reading comprehension. Okay, friends, thank you very much for listening my class with great patience. Let's meet again tomorrow by morning, same class with some other new topic. It may be grammar, it may be vocabulary, it may be our prescribed topic or language skills, whatever it is. Let us take and try to complete successfully tomorrow by same time. Thank you very much, friends. Be safe, be safe, and prepare well for your forthcoming examinations. Thank you. Thank you once again, one and all.